Alina, are we good to go?
Yeah, I lost the number. 1 second. So we have 22 as of now.
Okay. All righty. Thank you all for raising your hands. My whole accent.
British accent.
I don't even think it's British anymore. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming. The time is 11:39, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. So under new business, the first thing we have here is we have a new vice president committee coordinator, Derek Delgado. Derek, do you want to say a few words?
Yes, I want to say thank you. It was a tough campaign. I had a lot of candidates going against me, but thank you all for voting. If you did vote, the goal is to increase the student voice and increase our student representation around all of our committees. So later this afternoon or later this week, be meeting with Hiba and then Patrick and his team to see where we can start. To get the ball rolling. So thank you. And as any time before, you can always reach out to me if you ever need anything. Thank you.
Yeah, so Derek's going to be helping us fill all the committees. So if you guys are interested in participating or serving on any committees, which involves giving the student perspective on decisions that normally generally directly affect the students. So if you're interested in any of that, send us an email at sga@uhcl.edu. Derek can get you set up in a committee. And if you're interested in being my vice president, we have 2 positions available, outreach and communications, as well as administration. So consider it, work with me. I'm fun, I promise. And then we also have to vote on our constitutional amendment because that was tabled from last week. However, we are still not even close to meeting quorum, so we're gonna table that again. As well as SGA availabilities, which is kind of what I just talked about. We still have some availabilities on our Senate, but we've had like 5 or 6 people join our Senate in the past week, which is great. I think we have some new senators on this call if y'all want to like speak up. Or not, it's okay too. But either way, we have some new senators and we still have some availability. So if you're interested in joining our Senate this semester, we're going to focus on editing and rewriting the Constitution and submitting amendments for that. So if you're interested, join us. Applications are available and get involved. And that's it. Now we are at the open forum section of our meeting. So since this is a new semester, I'm going to, and we haven't had open forum yet, I'm just going to explain what it is. So it's an opportunity for all the students that are at this meeting to comment, ask a question, start a discussion about anything. So does anybody have any questions or comments?
Oh, yes. I think last week, the PowerPoints from Mark Denny and the facility, I forgot the name of the facilities person, but they were supposed to be added to the SGA Get Involved page and they never were.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that right away. I have the one from Eric Herrera. I have his presentation, and I'm still waiting on Mark Denny's presentation, the tuition and fee increase, but I'll get that from him like ASAP and put it on there. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
I will do that. Anyone else? That's interesting. All right. I mean, going once.
Hi. Oh, sorry. I thought we wanted to raise our hands. I saw somebody raising their hand. I can go after Aruna of ISA.
I can't see the hand raised. Oh, Aruma, are you raising your hand for open forum? I think she was raising her hand for quorum. I mean, sorry, yeah, quorum and attendance.
No, I'm sorry. I raised for the attendance part. That's it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Alyssa, you wanted to ask?
Yes, I needed to clear up some confusion that members of the UHCL community might have about the status of the Black Student Association. We dissolved fall 2020 in December, and this is due to the officers and myself stepping down and dissolving the org, as no one is qualified due to our constitution to step up as president. I think someone could step up as vice president, but as president, you must have served as an officer before. So because there was nobody qualified and we all stepped down, BSA is no longer active. I'm here speaking on behalf of myself as a student, not a member of a former member of BSA, but not a member of the art association or somebody else. I did put my tag on here just because I wasn't sure about attendance, but I just wanted to let everybody know because there has been some misinformation about the status of BSA.
Okay, well, thank you for letting us know. Does anybody have any questions regarding BSA and what's happening? Yeah, Derek, do you have something?
Alyssa, just to clarify, did y'all dissolve it yourself, or did you dissolve it with the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership as well?
The office is not being cooperative with us. We dissolved it ourselves.
Okay, thank you, Alyssa. So if someone were to want to revive the Black Students Association, they would not be able to do that.
No, because to revive the org, you have to have a president and vice president, and I believe up to 10 members, and nobody qualifies to be president. As other orgs have struggled, and even in the Art Association this semester, the BSA didn't have but like 1 or 2 people outside of officers attending meetings this semester or last semester. Last semester being last spring, not the fall, but the fall, the summer, and the spring, we had maybe 1 or 2 people a semester, and so no one would qualify to be president, so the org couldn't continue. And instead of me just like saying, oh, this is why it can't be, like I explicitly spelt it out in an email that we were dissolving. If someone could have stepped up, there would have been room for that, but there's nobody who qualifies to be president. So I took that active step in dissolving the organization.
Okay, my only confusion on this part, or like, I don't know if that's considered dissolving an org if everybody just steps down. I think the org is technically still there as it's still registered as a student organization through the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership. So I think like, have you spoken to all the BSA members about dissolving?
Yes, this was all emailed, posted on social media and our website in December. I think this was before it was officially announced. It was communicated with everybody, and it's also in our constitution, a dissolution step. If there is a process other than just letting the timer run out of dissolution, like dissolving an organization, I've been made aware of that. So I just was explicit in it instead of there being like confusion.
Yeah, so I think my only concern would be like making sure that all of the members had an opportunity to step up and take initiative and join the BSA leadership team if they wanted to. Since I know that you're saying that you sent out like correspondence and you reached out to members of your team, I'm saying like, did they respond? Did they tell you like, oh, okay, this sounds good, or hey, I'm actually interested in this? Has there been?
There's been no response from anybody within the organization about it. And to change to like the qualifications, so like you don't have to serve as a president. You don't have to serve as a previous officer to step up as president. We had no attendance to even make those changes, similar to the quorum situation with SGA. So it was kind of like that, like loop of you can't change it unless you have people around to help change it. So it's just like the way it ended. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if there's at least a way we can help them, because, like you said, Alyssa, there's like this problem that we have with student involvement, and I don't want just BSA to be dissolved and all right, we're done.
I
And
know.
someone from like 2 years from now wants to, hey, well, I want to bring up the Black Students Association. Oh, we can't do it because you don't have officers. Well, can I be an officer? Well, no, it can't be an officer because you had to be an officer to be
I
a
think
president or a vice president. But you can't do that without changing the Constitution and bylaws.
the workaround to that would be somebody creating the organization themselves. So writing their constitution with the help of the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, since they offer those services. So helping with the constitution, getting the minimum number of members, and people are encouraged to make another student org and even call it the same name as they want to. But the iteration that existed in 2020 didn't move forward. And there is other ways to get support if they don't like, because everybody here knows taking out a student org is a lot of work. So even if that isn't the right route, there's always other opportunities, be it counseling services, OSDAY, and all the other programming that different UHCL offices and student orgs provide. But as far as BSA, that would just have to start from scratch because, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not reading the chat because I'm trying to focus.
It's a separate comment.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, if students are encouraged to start a different org, there is a separate related org called the African Student Association. I'm not recruiting for them right now, but they also exist. So if students want to make a Black student union or anything else that mirrors kind of what we had, or a different university, or open a chapter of anything like that, they can do that, but that would be completely separate, making everything over, because everything was made by the previous officers, from name to logo to constitution to everything.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments regarding the situation? Alyssa or Lisa, do y'all have anything else? Okay. All right. I think that's going to end open forum. Does anybody else have any other comments aside from BSA? Just any other open forum comments, concerns? No?
I just have a quick question. So I know we're in Black History Month, so I wanted to ask, how can we support, right? Like, I don't know if SG has multiple events or other student orgs. I would love to know, and just wanted to reach out and say like, hey, if you have any events or need help with any kind of support of marketing to just attending events, I would love to share that with everybody. Yeah, so just wanted.
Yay, thank you. So right now I'm still like working and planning things. So I can meet with you first and then we can plan together and announce it. But I don't want to like announce everything in front of everyone in case something doesn't work out as planned yet, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course.
But is there anything else? Are there any other comments or concerns? Yes.
Do we know anything else about graduation?
Oh. Patrick, do we know anything about graduation?
So the committee that usually meets to coordinate commencement programming hasn't met yet, as we're going through the preliminary phases of ensuring that students that do qualify and are eligible and scheduled to graduate this May to go ahead and start initiating the graduation application. As we get closer to March and in the planning process, and this is just me guesstimating as being a member of the committee and just kind of seeing what we've done in the past, we'll then move forward on the method of commencement based on what's going on around us in the region as it relates to COVID.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I think without further ado, it is time to end this.
I have something to say.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make note that we have some exciting leadership and community engagement programming coming up out of the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership. And I would like for all of you, hopefully to be engaged in that. You'll get an RSVP or a save the date email here shortly about the big event coming up. And we hope that all of you would participate in that event.
Yes. Are there any other comments? Anyone?
So I just wanted to ask a question about like if we have organizations dissolve or our number of total orgs goes down. I remember you were talking something about like how uh, it does or doesn't affect our quorum. So like, for example, if we have like 10 less orgs, does our quorum go down or?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think our quorum goes down if we lose orgs or gain orgs. So how it's kind of set is in the beginning of the semester when registration for student organizations is due. So all of like the quorum, the number that we have now is based off of the amount of registered student organizations in August. So in August, these people registered. Anybody that registered after the deadline, that doesn't affect our quorum. Anybody that dissolves after the deadline um, also does not affect our quorum. So our quorum is 43 right now, or 42. And yeah, it's 42 and we are so far off. But it's okay. But y'all should encourage your, like if you guys are in organizations, y'all should encourage your organizations to come or just be the representative for your organization, please. We need quorum. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, but I've got a quick question just to follow up on that.
Okay.
For quorum, is it stated that you need a certain percentage? Like, our Congress, our Senate needs like 2/3. And so regardless of what the number is, it's always just going to be 2/3 of that total number?
I think it's 50 plus 1.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And then the other question was, so when we talk about the dissolution of a student org, do they technically just become inactive, or like they still exist technically? There's just no students, so it's not active. Is that correct?
Yes, they just become an inactive org. Patrick, if you want to.
So we've seen this before. This is nothing new, and this happens a lot, not only at this institution, but institutions in general when it deals with RSOs. When an RSO loses leadership or interest or enthusiasm from the membership, it just fizzles out naturally over the year. I think with the most recent conversation that's been had with BSA was ensuring that the membership knows that they're all in agreement of dissolving. By saying no one responded, I don't feel like that's a good indicator that, okay, now we as outgoing officers have permission to dissolve. As we sent an email out to those that are listed on the roster of BSA as an office saying your leadership has all left, would anybody like to step up? And surprisingly, we got responses. So
Okay.
That's kind of where there are some confusion as to outgoing officers leaving behind an organization that was there before them.
Okay, got it. Because I just, my understanding is once you resign from a position, you're no longer attached to that position or the role or anything that comes with that. So just wondering, because I know our wording is a little bit different. I know in some constitutions it may say it's dissolved, but really it's just inactive, with the opportunity for students to still participate and gain a leadership role if they would like to.
And our team reviewed the Constitution, and there is an article that talks of being dissolved. But I think what concerned us is not hearing from the membership or communications that was sent did not indicate membership agreed or a vote was taken and so forth. It was very much as I prepared to be an outgoing officer, we're also going to take the org and dissolve it on top of it. And so I think that's where kind of some of the confusion / concerns were.
This is news to us because we had no attendance or anybody reply to any of our emails. I'm glad that somebody did reply and that there is some sort of enthusiasm, but of all of our emails, all of our events, all our social media, I think we got more responses from like offices engagement rather than students. And it's not just BSA, like in other orgs too that I've participated in as a member or student. Because we emailed everybody, and it's kind of frustrating that we are not entrusted to do our job, but if someone who's employed by the university does the exact same thing, that's seen as legitimate when we reached out to everybody multiple times.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
So I just want to maybe ask Mr. Cardenas, because of course my concern is that it's being dissolved now. I mean, that's a concern, but my also concern is in a year or in 2 years when someone wants to bring back BSA, is there like a parliamentary requirement that they have to still use those same constitution and bylaws, or can they create a new constitution and bylaws? Because with the current one, it looks like that's the problem of getting officers. That's all.
Yeah, that's a good question. And so when dissolving an organization or making it inactive, and this is applicable to all orgs since we're having this conversation, it's best to just naturally let it fizzle out. As the member of the student body will always have access to the manifest of all the registered orgs. If they choose so later to join the org, if not now, that's still an opportunity for them. But that's also the reason why we have the re-registration season, because then that allows organizations to receive new membership either through appointment or election. And because the re-registration season requires updates or changes to the Constitution upon submission to be renewed or recognized, that's when you can start really going into editing or amending the Constitution during that registration process. Once your organization's registered and officially activated to go forth and be a registered student org, that's when the details of the article on how to amend and change the Constitution really start to take effect. And so I think just so that BSA or former BSA officers understand, we are taking that into consideration. The current Constitution is designed in a way for it to have some tricky challenges for those members that are remaining. But we still had to do a due diligence to just generally ask, well, as this group goes and moves to inactivity, last call, is anybody interested? If not, we have to default and allow it to naturally dissolve on its own. I think just the immediate concern was the dissolution on top of officer departures. And we wanted to make sure the two were separate for a cleaner historical explanation of how the group became inactive this semester.
Also, Alyssa, I hope you don't feel that we're like, that's never the intention to invalidate, the work that you're doing. We definitely, like, I'm a student leader and I take my work very seriously, and we take all the work you guys do very seriously. The school is run on students, for students, like pretty much by students. It does feel that way. Okay, well, personally, I want to let you know, like, I'm sorry that it feels that way, but we're not trying at all to invalidate your experience or the conversations that you've been having. I think what we're trying to say is, well, what Patrick just said was that he sent out an email, or Erica sent out an email to the BSA members, just confirming that, hey, this all the officers have stepped down. Does anybody want to take their place? Is anybody interested? And they did receive a response, which just that happened, and it just does not line up with how you guys may not have received a response. That doesn't mean that we think you're lying or something. It's just maybe students didn't see one email, they saw the second one first. There could be a multitude of reasons as to why that happened, but we just want to make sure that we're providing a fair opportunity for the students that are currently enrolled or that are currently a part of BSA. We just want to make sure that they all are aware of what's happening, and that if they want to participate and take a stronger role in the organization, that they have the opportunity to do so. And so nobody can just say, like 2 months from now, like no one can just be like, I was in BSA, I don't even know what happened. Like all of a sudden everything just blew up and it's gone. And I don't even know what happened. We just don't want any students to have that argument. We just want to make sure that students were allowed the opportunity to participate, and then they chose not to, and then, oh well, so be it, if that makes sense. Okay, I hope, please don't be mad, Alyssa and Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, and I just wanted to speak from an advisor's perspective. I mean, we went through all of that with the LGBTQ plus student coalition, where it had for all intended purposes was non-existent on campus. It was still labeled as inactive, and on file with student involvement and leadership. We just all of a sudden had students that were interested. And so then you have to meet the requirements that are going to need to be met for registration. And we were able to do that, but we're back in that same space, right? Of we don't have officers in that role. So I think that, I think that that's again, I think Erica just said, I said it to Lisa, similar, right? We contemplated a name change and all of that, and I believe did make significant changes to the Constitution. So I think it's just a matter of understanding that you all have decided and stepped away, and we completely understand that. And like Hiba said, that doesn't diminish the work that you've done. I think you did your due diligence, and you had your experience, and now we have students who have expressed interest. That doesn't mean it was because of you or not because of you. I think it's just they expressed interest, they would like to be involved, so then let's offer them that opportunity to be able to do so. Just like if you wanted to come back, we would absolutely allow that as well.
Absolutely.
I've been on mute. I agree with Derek's comment. Are there any other like comments or concerns? Lisa, Alyssa, like I don't want you guys to, leave with any hard feelings. So if there's anything you want to discuss, we can discuss it. Or unless you feel like there's nothing left to discuss, that's also okay. Going once, going twice. Okay, it seems like this is the end of our discussion. Okay, I have nothing else to say. Okay. So, well, yeah, I agree with Miss Melendez, but again, if you guys have nothing else to say, I will respect that. I think, does anybody else have any other comments for open forum in general besides this? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Let me bring up my closing remarks. Sorry. Here we go. All right, the next virtual SGA meeting will be held on February 9th, 2021. Please be present no later than 11:20 a.m. to be led into the session so we can begin promptly at 11:30 a.m. To schedule agenda time, i.e. student organization announcements, staff and university office announcements, etc., a completed request form must be submitted on the SGA website by 12 noon on Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021. Online forms are on www.uhcl.edu/SGA. The quote of the day is, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Nelson Mandela. It's 12:06 and this meeting is adjourned. Woo, that was so loud.